right, hello once again, Jeff Scott. And as I believe all of you know, we're coming down to the end of the semester. I gave you this candy shop project, which again, I had found this earlier and we were using it all semester. We're not. Let's work with what we've got. All right. So one thing I want to do is I've been coming in here and playing with the area stuff. I've removed it. All right. I have removed it. Okay, I'll put it back in just a bit. It's a promise. But before I do, there's a few things that I want to try to fix first. All right, now I have a components folder in here, and it's got in here category menu, and it has shopping cart summary. Let's look at both of those. All right, so let's start with the category menu. And the idea behind this, as you'd probably guess, is to show us a menu with all of the categories. All right, so let's start with this. Now, this is going to be a view component. All right, so what the heck is that? Let's go and ask. What is an ASP.NET View component? All right, so what is a view component? It's a newly introduced feature. It's similar to a partial view, but it's powerful. It does not use model binding. All right, it has different features, such as the separation of concerns. So they have it in here. All right. As it says, it has two parts. It has a class derived from the view component abstract class and the result that it returns. So this is what we're going to do right now. See if we can get this puppy to work, okay? All right. So public class category view component, fine. iCategory repository, all right. Then we've got this category menu in here. That's going to initialize that. That's fine. All right. And you use this invoke method here. All right. I'm going to put this over a couple different lines so you can see all of it. So what is this telling us to do? This is telling us to basically return our menu that's going to have our different categories in it. Now, it's not complete yet. So let me do a file, save all. When I say it's not complete, this file is now complete. Let's look at the shopping cart summary as well. All right. Move this down. All right. This has to inherit from view component. They both did. All right. We've got, again, our shopping cart that we're bringing in here, and we are initializing it inside of the constructor. Then again, we have another invoke method. You must have this invoke method. All right. So shopping cart items equal get shopping cart items. All right. We've got a shopping cart view model that we're setting up, and it's going to hold our shopping cart and our total. All right. And as it says right there, then we're going to return that shopping cart view model. That looks good. Now, when we look at the rest of this, so they show it in here. So notice the view component, etc. And it'll talk about the invoke. All right. So how to invoke a component from a view? Well, I believe we already have some of that stuff inside of our view. I'm not positive, but I think if we go to layout in here, there's our shopping cart summary right there, and there's our category menu right here. All right. Now, no idea if this is going to work, how this is going to work, but let's take a quick look. My guess is not going to work the way I want it to, but it's all right. Again, for now, I've removed all of the authorization and authentication stuff. Why? Just because I want this to run. All right, so we're getting an error in here. And it says an unhandled exception occurred while processing this request. Now, the bad thing is it's saying identity user manager, which does basically say, as it says here, it's been registered, so that stuff is out of here. So what do I mean? Well, I'm going to show you very quickly what I mean in here. And that is, let me stop the run, go into View, SQL Object Server Explorer. Let's refresh. And if we bring up the database, because earlier, all right, if we go under tables, earlier, oops, really all that's here is balls and categories. So let's see, somewhere in here, I think it was the line I was just on, but let's double check here. It's telling me someplace in here there is a user manager. All right, so again, I'm getting this message, and this is in that await line for the shopping cart summary. All right, it says no service type in here for a user manager has been registered. All right, well, that is right here, and it's here, line 34. And it's telling me I am going to have to register this. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go on as though I didn't have the error. Why? Because what I want to do in here is I want to bring in as much of this stuff in this lecture as I possibly can, and then try to fix it, and then put this thing out there so you've got something that you can try to use as a template or whatever, so it's something that you can start to work with. All right, so I'm going to jump into views, and I'm going to start with my home view and home index view, which is not going to have much stuff in it. All right, so let me stop this, and I'm going to move this way the hay over. All right, and this over a little so I can read it. All right, so let's go in, and under views, home, let's look under index.cshtml. Well, this is what's in it now, which is a load of junk, basically. We don't need any of this, but just in case what I try to put in doesn't work or doesn't work correctly, let's highlight all this and comment it out. Now I'm going to come in here. right, I thought that I'd started to work on these partials, but let's see. It's not it. Ball partial, that would be it. I don't want to open it, I just want to use it. All right, and as always, I'm getting this thing that it's possibly null. I don't know if we put a question mark here. Doesn't like that. I don't think it would make no sense to put one there, and the only other place to put one is here. All right, doesn't like that at all. Doesn't like that. Isn't complaining about that, but the warning is not going away. So we're going to leave it like that. All right. Now, I don't know if this will work. Okay. Now, I am going to get an error, the same error that I had before. All right, which was line 34 inside of my layout file here, line 34. It did not like this line. Didn't seem to mind this one, but it didn't like this one. So let's comment this line out. It is a CSHTML file. So we're going to comment it out like this. All right. And I'm going to see now if it'll run or not run. Lovely. The partial view carousel was not found. All right, it's because I don't have a carousel in there yet. Okay, that's all right. So far we've done that index. All right, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep working on in here. All right, so next I'm going to do the under the ball. I'm going to look at the details and the list. All right. And believe it or not, I think that this index that's under here, I think this is going to work. So I'm going to do a file, save all, and I'm going to close this. I'm going to leave this layout up because we've got to fix that error. Category menu. I think that's okay. Shopping cart summary. I believe that's not okay. Yeah, I believe that's okay as well. All right, so let's go in next and let's bring up the details and let's bring up the list. So home seems to be okay. So let's start with details here. All right, so no errors in here right now, which is good. All right, model ball, H1, thumbnail. Well, it's a div with a class of thumbnail, so we might have to go back in and do some work on that later. All right, image, ball name and the URL. Okay, the price, the ball name, the description. All right, and add to cart. This all looks fine to me. All right, let's look at the list, which is thankfully nice and short. All right. That looks fine to me as well. So, as far as I know, in my views, the stuff for the ball is okay. Let's look under contact, which I think was almost empty. All right. Just as it says, this is going to be that contact thing. All right, that's going to basically tell us, as it says, click the link below if you want to contact us. That's fine too. All right, so far going through our views, our ball views are okay, our contact views are okay, our home views are okay. So let's jump down to order. And under order, we're going to have a checkout and a checkout complete, it looks like. All right. Now, let's take a look at what's in there. There's the checkout. There's the checkout complete. Well, all that's going to do is basically say thank you for your order type of thing. So that's okay. So let's look at the checkout in here, and let's see if that appears to be okay. It's an order. You can see it's a form that is taking up the entire file. All right. All right. So we're going to come in here, checkout, post, roll this form, just an H4 that lets them know. Here's our summary with a class of danger. What I don't like is this danger right here is not being recognized by the system. What do I mean? Well, that should be coming out and being read, and it's not. So for some reason, this doesn't seem to be recognizing my bootstrap, which has been a problem from the get-go in here. That's why I think it looks so bad. All right, so we've got our first name. We've got a validation summary, but we're also validating each field too. So first name, then last name, then address, city, state, zip, and phone number. And then finally, we're going to have a submit button. This to complete our order. That looks okay. As far as I can tell, that looks okay. So, taking a look in here then, our ball views look okay, our contact views look okay, our home views look okay, our order views look okay. Well, let's move on. You can see there's still stuff to go in here. All right. So the next thing to look at in here would be order. No, we just did order, right? Yep, checkout and checkout complete. All right, so let's go down to shared. And there's a lot of stuff in here. All right, including a components folder. That components folder goes in along with these components we created earlier. So let's open up the components folder. All right, and in that components folder, okay, we should have two other folders, which I don't see in here right now, or do we? Yes, we do. Category menu and shopping cart summary. Now, this works a little weird when you're working with components like this. What I mean is you have to create a folder called components. That, for lack of better words, kind of takes the place of a controllers type of folder. Then, under shared, you must create a components folder. And for each of the components you created up on top, which were category menu and shopping cart summary, you need a folder by that name, category menu, shopping cart summary. And the files that go in there have the name default.cshtml. So let's start with this one right here, which is our category menu. All right. So we've got an LI, and the reason that this is in here like this, because it looks strange. The reason it's in here like this is going to be added as a partial. It's going to be added to something that already exists, and it's going to be plucked or put into a UL. That's why these are in here as LIs. All right, now let me take this, and I want to I'm not going to say pretty it up, but I want to make sure you can read it. All right, so with these LIs, notice drop down is the class. All right, so the class right here should be drop down, not drop down toggle. This is wrong. So let's fix this. So it's drop down. So that's the beginning of the LI right there. Okay. Now we want to say here, A class equal drop down toggle, data toggle equals drop down. That's our categories. This little caret is just going to be a thing here, and it really should be a strong. It's not a big thing, but I'm going to put a strong in there instead. All right. Okay, now the other thing we're not doing in here right now is we're not ending our A tag. Okay, now then we've got our unordered list drop down menu for each category in model, LI, okay, and the controller is ball, the action is list, the category should be category.name, and that's what we're showing here. So what this should do, if it works, is it should show us a list of all of our categories. All right. All right, then we've got a divider, and then we've got basically our one for everything. So again, ball list, all right, and view all balls. So the difference between these is this is going to be under a divider, and divider looks like this thing right here, this gray thing that you're seeing in between that breaks things up. These will have the individual categories. This should have a view all balls, all right, if we can get that to work. So save all. All right, so that is that one. Let's close that, and let's bring up our shopping cart summary, which again is fairly small. All right. Now notice the if statement in here. If model.shoppingcart.shoppingcartitems.count. We only want to go through and do this if we have something in there. All right. So again, we've got an LI, our controller, shopping cart, our action is index, just because I like to put these on their own line. Okay. A span here, so this should hopefully show that glyphicon of a shopping cart. So again, my biggest concern here is it's not finding my bootstrap. All right, I don't think that it is. So we're going to try to address that in just a moment. Status, model.shopping cart, everything in here as far as I can tell is correct. So file, save all. So the good news is, okay, our components appear to be fine. All right, now we're going to look at all of these in just a second. All right, and then we'll come back and we'll look at the shopping cart. If we do that, and if we can get rid of that error, all right, then I'm going to go on and look at the stuff in here for the authentication and authorization. We're only at 25 minutes, so we're doing just fine time-wise. Now, if I run it, I'm going to get the same error that I got before. All right, so let's see. If I come in here and run this, my guess is it'll give me that same error that it showed before. All right, with a thing with a carousel. All right, We're going to fix that too in just a bit. All right, but the point is this. From what you've seen in here now, all right, from what you've seen, ball views, contact views, home views, order views, components are all done. All right, so let's take a look at what's left. All right, so I'm going to try to take this from the top. I've got this ball partial in here. All right, and what are we doing in this ball partial? Let me close this, and let's bring up the ball partial. All right. All right, this is basically what we have in here is something we want to be able to use in more than one file. That's why we're making it in a partial, so that it's available in multiple files. All right, so let me look right here. Details, name, description. We've got an add to cart here. The good news is, there's no errors in here. So as far as I can tell, everything that's in here is looking okay. All right, so that one I believe is okay. So again, we'll do a file save all, and I'm going to close this one, which is the ball partial. Now the layout we already looked at. All right, I want to say that again. The layout we already looked at. All right, so we'll come back to that one in just a bit. All right, let's go to login partial and look at this. Again, this is login. So probably, again, when you look at this, what have we got in here? Well, we've got stuff that's dealing with authorization and authentication, which we just pulled out. All right, so we're going to have to put that back in order for any of this stuff here to work. All right, but I want to look at the code and make sure that it looks the way I think it should look. So this will be used in English. What this is saying is, if the user is logged in, you just want a thing there that says hello, JP Scott or whatever, and a log out. If they're not logged in, we want to give them the opportunity to either register if they aren't registered or to log in. All right. So again, as far as I can tell, this login partial looks good. All right. This validation script partial, I don't think there's anything that we have to really do with this. All right. Basically, what that's doing is it's bringing jQuery into the formula, and it's making it available to us. All right. So we've got our ball partial we did. That was okay. All right. And we got our login partial. That was okay. All right. Now I'm going to base what I do next off of what's in this candy store, whatever the hell it's called, Candy Store 2 or whatever the heck it's called. And that is, I'm going to come in here and try to add a carousel. All right. And we're doing that. That is in our shared. It's going to be another partial. So inside of shared here, I'm going to add a view. It will be a razor view empty, and it will be underscore carousel.cshtml. Again, we don't need the garbage that comes with it, so let's just go. right, what we need here, just so you know, what we're going to need in here are what we want to show. In other words, this is going to be a carousel. All right, we're going to need some slides or something in here that we can show. Now, let's take a look in here. And I have no idea. I'll try unsplash.com. And I'm going to put in Ball Store to see if it has anything. Ball Store. All right. And it probably doesn't know even what I mean, to be honest with you. And that's okay. All right. It doesn't look like it has anything we can use. So I'll try Pexels, and it'll probably be the same thing. So again, I'll try in here Ball Store. And again, not really finding much of anything. Let's just try balls. Okay. Okay, so we've got stuff in here. Like for instance, we might be able to use that one. All right, that's the kind of balls, and we might be able to use that one. So let's look and see what we have in here. So I'm going to grab this one. I'm going to choose download. Say thanks. Donate, no, but I'm going to do I will give them attribution. So that's that. All right, so let's go back. Come on, you. All right, again, I want to put in balls. And right here, click the download. Oh, I don't know. Let's see. I guess it is downloaded it already. All right. So let's get rid of, that's fine. So we've got that one. Anything else in here we can use? That doesn't look bad. I thought there was another one like that up here someplace. There it is. It's the same one, I guess. That doesn't look bad either. No, it's the one we're using. No, it's not. We could put 3 things with baseball in here. At least we'd know they'd be the same size. Let's just do that. So I'm going to grab that one. I've already grabbed this one. Now I'm going to grab this one and download that. All right. And finally, I'm going to go out and I'm going to grab the last one that was there. So I've got that one and this one, and then we'll grab that one as well. All right. All right. Now, first of all, let's just take a look at what we've got here. Okay, I want to see if they're the same size and everything else. All right. So let me go into my downloads folder. And we've got these. Now, this one was in there twice. So let's get rid of that. I'm going to check the size out here. 5184 by 3006. Nice and humongous. Well, they're all pretty much the same size. All right. So I'm going to open them up one at a time and resize them. Probably if I did an image responsive, it would probably be all right as it was. All right. Okay. All right. So let me open each one of these up. I'm going to open them with paint. You can see how big it is. And let's change the size. My clock's making noise, so let me pause for a moment. All right, so I want to shrink this down, so let me go to resize. And let's just change it. I'll make it about, I don't know. Well, let's start with about a third of the size, so 1700. That's better, but it still is too big. Let's try 1000. That looks pretty good. All right, so I'm going to save that. And then I'm going to do the next one. And again, I'll come in here and do 1000. Again, it looks pretty good. And then let's do the last one. All right, and we'll save that one. All right, now, is that big a thing? Well, I want to change the name of these to Carousel 1, Carousel 2, and Carousel 3. All right, so now let's bring those in here so they're actually in our images folder. So in images, I'm going to add existing items. All right, which again are in my downloads folder. And there they are, Carousel 1, 2, and 3. Add those. And let's see. There they are, Carousel 1, 2, and 3. Should look at this. I don't know. Oh, I got 2 of these. I don't know how. And that's actually the one I want, is logo 1. I like that one better than I liked this one. We'll worry about that later. So let me get rid of all this stuff. And let's build the carousel. All right, let's see if it works. All right. And we've got 3 LIs for each one of the things that we have in there. And finally, we want that to be the active one when we start. So there's our first one. I'm going to just copy this. Of course, on here, we only want one to be active. So I'm going to get rid of this, and I'm going to get rid of this. And I want these to be 2 and 3. Or 1 and 2, I'm sorry. 1 and 2. All right, that should be everything that's in there. Now we're not done yet, but with what we're working on. All right. We want carousel 1 here. Alt equal, we'll just say ball picture 1. All right, and I'm going to copy this 3 times. So we will also want 2 and 3. All right. Okay, we're getting there. Jeez Louise. I think that needs a hyphen. In here, span class equal glyphicon, glyphicon chevron left. And our span. Then we'll put another one right underneath it, but it's good. Instead of previous, it'll be next. And it'll be a chevron right. All right, now as far as I know, that's everything for this carousel. So file, save all. Okay. And let's see, what do we have left here? So we came in here, let me close my images folder. In fact, let's close the whole www root. So we now have a carousel in here. All right, we've got to still look at our layout file, which we will in a minute, but we also want, according to this, and underscore cookie consent partial. All right, so add another class, and this will be underscore cookie. Let me try that again. Let me cancel this. All right, come in here and add a view. All right, razor view empty, and this will be underscore cookie consent partial dot cshtml. Now, this is not humongous. It's about 40 lines, but there's probably a pretty good chance I'd muck it up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this from over here, right there. I'm just going to grab it, and I'm going to copy it and literally just throw it in here. All right. Now, could there be mistakes? Of course. All right. But I wanted to get that in there. So now, to my knowledge, the only thing we have to check anymore in here is our layout file one more time. Okay? All right. I don't know now if we can undo this, but I'm going to try it. What the heck? This was the old stuff that we had in there originally. So let me do a file, save all. We'll probably get an error, but let's just see what happens when we do this. Of course, we got an error or errors. All right, no overload for method write takes 0 arguments. Where is that? Oh, okay. Well, that's a start. So let's do a file, save all on here. And it looks like we might be down to just 1, but we'll find out right now. Let's run it again, see if we get an error or not. And we're getting that same thing before that we got for the shopping cart summary. All right, and the underscore layout.cshtml. All right, and it is that await for the shopping cart summary. So let's take a quick look at that. Once we get done, what should be left to do is to come back in and see if we get this error fixed. And we run it, first of all, what the heck it looks like. All right, it's kind of important. All right, and then we'll go on and we will see if we can add the authorization stuff. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that without mucking it up or not. I have absolutely zero idea. All right. Now I want to do one more thing first before we do that. And that is I want to go into, first of all, let's stop the run. Let's do a file, save all here. All right, let's move this over. All right, and I want to come into my www root css site.css file. There's some stuff in there. I'm going to get rid of all of it. And I'm going to add the stuff from our candy shop. Okay. Now that's in www root content site. So, okay. I don't think there's anything in here that is specific to either candy shop or ball store. I don't believe, but we'll find out. So there's that stuff. Not showing me any errors there. That's good. All right, so file, save all here. Let's go in there and run it one more time. I want to look at that error one more time. and see if we can try to fix this error. All right, because really, like I said, I think the only thing we've got left after this is to try to come in and add the authorization and authentication. All right, so let's see. I'm going to take a picture of this. I don't need these any longer here. Okay, and there that is. All right, and really what I need, I'm just going to keep it all up there. So it says invalid operation exception. No service type for the type Microsoft.ASP.NET Core.Identity.UserManager has been registered. All right, so it does appear with that line. That's line 34, and I believe if we got rid of that line, we got a different error, but I'm going to see. So let's go back. This is in our layout, and it was this line right here. So I'm going to attempt to comment that line out, do a file, save all here, run it again, and see if it does run. So what I'd like to do is get it to the point where it runs. Now I get a different error, and it's in the category menu, so it's in the other await that we have here. Well, without, just so you know, I mean, with those two out, this is going to drastically change the way that this looks. And I might get other errors now, then it looks like I am. Again, this identity user manager error. All right, so let's do this. Let's uncomment these. And I know that this won't work. So we're uncommenting these. All right. And then I'm going to stop the run, and I'm going to go into my program.cs file down to the bottom here. We've got an app map controller, all right, but we don't have one of these for an areas folder, all right? And I was looking online because, like I said, I'm sorry, I'm just losing it for whatever reason here. But let's see. When I went back out and looked, they said we wanted something like this. So I'm going to bring that in. This is going to have to be another app dot map control route, controller route. Hit enter again. All right. Now I'm going to paste this stuff in here. All right. So this will have to be the name. In fact, I don't even know if I need any of that, if it will just take it like this or not. It's telling me it's looking for another paren. All right, it doesn't like something in here, so let's check. Oh, I think I know. It doesn't need this, which means it doesn't need this. All right, so let's look. The name does not exist in the current context. Thought that was how we had done it before. Let's try this. Name. Don't want name off, just name. and pattern. Like that. All right. Now, this is going to have to change, of course, but I want to look at that and see if there is something in here that I'm not doing that I should be doing. So, I don't even know if I need this, to be honest with you. I'm looking in the one that that they had for the candy shop, and they didn't use it. So let's remove it. And I'm going to go back and do a bunch of the stuff that you saw me do before. My hope is my views are now all done. The only thing I really didn't go over in here were the tag helpers. And this was just that email thing. All right. And what that should be doing, basically from the way that we set this up, is it should be allowing us to send an email. All right. That's it. So let me close that. In fact, let me close everything. No, I'm not going to close. Let's do a file save all. Now let's close everything. All right. Now, like I said, I'm going to come back and I'm going to try to make this look at least somewhat the way that it does for the candy shop. If I can get that done and if I can get that to work, then ideally we'll have just about everything done here. We've looked at the components, we've looked at the controllers, we've looked at the models. All right, we've looked at the tag helpers. Now, something concerns me here, and that is this. All right, in here, we do have the shopping cart, the orders, all that other stuff. But if we look in here, all we had in here was balls and categories. So what I'm going to try to do, and I don't know if this is going to do anything, but I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go to Tools, NuGet Package Manager Console. Let me clear this and let me do an add migration, add identity tables. Hopefully that's going to work. You know, it says that succeeded. Right now it's not showing me anything, which never is a good sign. All right, but let's come in here and do an update database. All right, and did that do anything? Well, we'll know right now in about 15 seconds. So I'm going to refresh, go back to here, databases, and our ball store DB, and tables. No, it didn't. It didn't do a flipping thing. All right. So I can remove that migration just because it's not necessary. All right. It's kind of a waste to have had it in there. Okay, it says here the add identity tables has already been applied to the database. Revert it and try again. If the migration was applied to, I'm just going to leave it the way it is. So let me clear here. All right. So if for some reason I do not get this stuff to work as far as the authorization and authentication, I will save everything I have. What that should do is that should allow you, once you hopefully get your own authentication and authorization to work, hopefully most everything else will be working. All right. And again, I'm going to lean heavily here on the use of this candy shop. So I'm going to come in and create an areas folder, very similar to what I did before. I could just bring it in, but I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to come in here, add a new folder. It's going to be called areas. Notice it jumps right up to the top. In there, I'm going to create a new folder that's going to be called identity. Now, at least one of you has sent me an email in which you said, hey, you know, this is not exactly the way they did it in the book. If you don't like the way they're doing it here, do it the way they've done it in the book. All right. And I've had questions too about implementing the pagination. Again, try doing what they have in the book. If you can't get anything to work, if you basically replicate what I've done here, and even if your identity doesn't work, but you replicate this and you've got it with your data, etc., you'll get most of the credit. Again, I will tell you that there's one student who's already completed this. I should go back and look at his and see what the heck he did that I didn't do. All right? Okay. So in identity, we want another folder called pages. All right. And in the pages folder, we want another folder that's called account. All right. And again, like I said, I'm just going to basically be doing some grabbing here. So I'm going to, in this account folder, I'm going to add an existing item. I'm going to go back into here, not there. I'm going to go back into downloads, Candy Shop, and I'm going to grab all of that and add it. Now all of that is in here. I have no idea if this will work, if it'll be screwed up, I don't know. Then I'm going to go into pages. So under account, all right, I've added those files, but under pages, I also want to go in and add existing items. And I'm going to try to add these three things. Validation scripts partial, validation imports, and validation start. Those three right there. Well, of course, I'm not going to be able to do it from there, so. Let's add those. All right. Then under identity itself, let's add an existing item. And let's see. And it'll be that identity hosting startup. All right, so now let's come through here, and with the stuff we just added here, I'm sure there's something in here that is mismarked or is set up for the candy store, and it's not set up for this. So let's just go through these. All right, so I'm going to start. Let's start with this identity hosting. Okay. Oops. And as you can see, there's a few things in here it doesn't like. Well, the first thing is that has to be Ball Store. All right, that's the first thing. And we do have this identity, but it appears as though there's either no UI under it. All right. It's basically saying that this directive is unnecessary. Now, why? I don't know. But what I'll do is, since this is a CS, I will comment out that line. All right. The rest of it looks okay as far as I can tell, except, let's just look at it. Everywhere it says candy shop, it should say Ball Store. All right. So let's double check. Far as I can tell, that looks okay. All right, so File, Save All right here. Let's close that one. All right, so that was the first one. Let's take a look at what's inside of Account here. All right, so let's open these up. All right. This is just basically saying to run our regular layout file, so that should be okay. The imports, again, we don't want Candy Shop there. We want Ball Store. Now, this gave me an error before. It didn't recognize pages. Now, could that be a problem? Very easily could be a problem, because it's this pages right here that it's not recognizing. And I don't know why for the life of me. All right. So my guess is that if I take this line and comment it out, I'm going to end up having problems a little bit later, but we'll see. So let me save that. And this is the validation scripts. Now, this is what they gave. Some of these may be old as far as what version they're using of jQuery or whatever. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to see if I can, for lack of better words, let's see. What do we have here, first of all? We've got these two. And I'm going to try to bring in jQuery validate. And I'm going to try to bring in jQuery validate unobtrusive. And I'm going to replace those because they're outdated. All right, so let me go out here to cdnjs.com. All right, and again, we want to replace that one. So let's see if it finds it first of all. jQuery.validate.min.js. Well, that's it here, jQuery validate. So, see if they have a min. They don't, but that's okay. I know it is min. Validate.min. I'm going to grab the script tag from there, and I'm going to come in and replace the script tag that's in there with this one. Now let's pretty it up or fix it up or whatever. So again, we'll put the integrity on its own line. And we will put the cross origin on its own line. We'll put the refer policy on its own line. And we'll put the script on its own line. Okay. All right. That should be okay, as far as I know. All right. Now, the other one is jQuery validate unobtrusive min.js. It may not have even changed. I should have checked. So this one is 329. Let's see if it's changed. See, it's 4.0. So we'll grab that. And again, I'm going to take what is in here right there, and I'm going to replace it with this. Again, we'll put cross origin on its own line. We will put refer policy on its own line. And let's go up to integrity, and we'll put that on its own line. All right. Now, hopefully I didn't screw anything up by doing this. All I'm trying to do is update what I'm working on. That's all. All right. That's the validation partial. So that's a save all. And let me close that one. So the one right now I have to worry about is my view imports. So underneath here, the validation partial, the view imports, and the view start, like I said, it's not recognizing this, which is a little scary. All right. Now let's go in under our account and take a look at what's in there. All right. So I'm just going to take it again from the top. All right. Again, I'm going to have a problem, probably the same thing, because ball store, areas, identity. See, it doesn't recognize this pages. And for the life of me, I'm not sure why. All right. But again, I think I'm going to have nothing but problems with this. If one of you, when I end up putting this out there, can figure out my problem here, please share it with me. I'll give you credit, and I'll let the rest of the class know just what the heck is going on here. All right. So this is... Let's just take them one at a time then. So this is login. Not giving me any errors, which is always a good sign. Yes, it is giving me errors, which is not a good sign. Says that login model could not be found. Well, that isn't true because that should be right here. There's login model. Now, we're going to run into problems. This is where I had all my problems before. Some of these are real simple fixes, such as anywhere there's candy shop in here, it's got to be replaced with ball store. But when you look in here, this using UI services, all right, it doesn't like that. So let's go in here. And it says remove unnecessary using. So let's get rid of those. All right. And this is where I had the problem before, was everything that was using an email in here with this email sender. You'll notice that that looks like the only problem I'm having in here. So when I come over here, it says The typer namespace I email sender could not be found. When I click here, it says generate interface. All right. So, well, I just did that, and it looked like it was happier. It got rid of the error. And for the login model, inconsistent accessibility parameter. I email sender is less accessible than login model.login model. All right. And of course, it doesn't give any possible fixes. So I'm going to come up here. Again, let's get rid of the unnecessary usings. All right, and again, now I have to figure out what it is adding in here. So let's bring this up. All right. So when I did come in here, now it's son of a gun. So it's considering declaring this as being nullable. Well, it liked it there, but it didn't like it down here, so I'm going to get rid of that. Input must contain a non-null value. Okay. Return, all these must be non-nullable. So inconsistent, this is less accessible. So I'm hoping if I can find a fix to this, let's see if we can. So again, I'm going to make a copy of it and try to bring it up in here. Just going to keep that one. All right, so we want this error right here. Just for the heck of it, I'm going to do a file, save all, and I'm going to run this. I'm going to get errors, probably up the wazoo, but I don't care. I just was curious. Yep, we get lots of them. Login model, register model, I email sender. All right. The only one that I'm really concerned with will be the one that we had previously, which was that other one that's in here, which is whatever that line is. All right, so that's okay. So it appears as though one of these made that error go away. But we're still getting a different error now. Move this. There we go. All right. This typer namespace UI does not exist, so you can see the problems we're having, and it says we're not using it anyway. So I'm just going to comment the line out. It'll fix one error, but it's not doing too much. Now, register model could not be found. This is the same problem we just had. So, again, this will have to be ball store. All right. And it's giving me that error on register model. So what is it saying? Again, it's less accessible. It's the same doggone error that I'm getting in login model. If I can get done with those, I won't have very many errors left, it looks like. So what I'm going to do is this will end up being part 5 because it's an hour and 20 minutes already. I'm going to have lunch, and then I'm going to attack this afternoon.